The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I was learning Kollel in Lakewood, right? My in-laws helped us a little bit. My wife had a job, and I was making what Lakewood BMG makes, which is $80 a week. And anyhow, I'm learning Lumdis, Teef, the whole thing. And my wife has a good friend. Her friend's husband is a regular working man. So he keeps asking me, he says, Joey, could we learn once? Could we learn once? And I'm like, I keep pushing him off. I'm like, he's not on my level at all. I'm learning Reb Chaim's and Rashbas and, Kivegas and Baruch Beres. I'm not like going to learn with this simple guy who doesn't have the same kind of yeshiva background. Finally, after a few months, my wife, and his name is Morris, my wife tells me, she says, Joey, just learn with Morris one time. He really wants to learn with you. Make him feel good. So one afternoon in 2001, one Shabbos afternoon, an hour and a half before Mincha in Deal, I was staying by my in-laws' house in Deal in the summer. I learned with him for an hour and a half. Wonderful. We learned an hour and a half together. We learned fantastic. 2 months later, Rabbi Miller passes away. And at Rabbi Miller's Levaya, Morris is driving in a car on Ocean Parkway in Brooklyn with his brother-in-law. His brother-in-law's name is Daniel. Okay? Daniel happens to be my first cousin. So Daniel tells Morris, as they're driving on Ocean Parkway, at the Levaya, he says, I really want to start class shiur in my house one night a week. He says, but I don't know who to get. So Morris says to Daniel, why don't you just get your cousin? He says, which cousin? He says, Joey Haber. He says, Joey Haber. He says, Joey Haber's not the type to give a class. Like, he doesn't know how to do that. Morris says, I just learned with him in the summer, and I'm telling you, he could be good. As they're talking, they stop at a red light on Ocean Parkway. I'm crossing the street. Daniel gets out of the car and goes on, there's like a side lane where you're walking lane. He gets out of the car and he just sees me. I didn't realize what had happened. And he says, Joe, would you want to give a class in my house on Tuesday nights? I said, that's funny. I was thinking about maybe potentially starting to do something like that. I said, okay, talk again, but could be I'll be willing to do it. And 2 months later, right after 9/11, I started the first class. Every single shiur I've ever given since then is all a product of that class. I gave that class in his house to 5-6 people in Deal in the winter on Tuesday nights. And maybe there would be 7 people or 8 people, maybe 12 when it was really rolling. I prepared 10-12 hours for every single one of those shiurim. And over time, then I went into shuls and then other shuls and then it was recorded. And then I said, honey, it just happened because I learned with Morris on a Shabbat afternoon in the summer, one-on-one. Without Morris, there's no Daniel. Without Daniel, there's no Joey Haber. So the whole thing is a miracle. And we have to stop and recognize any person who feels any level of success, if they're honest with themselves, they could realize that it's a miracle. So if right now in a certain area Hashem wants it to be a struggle, then that's also his miracle.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org